this lick that we're going to talk about is inspired by both Jimi Hendrix and the Beatles, and I'm kind of thinking of a couple songs with this, right? It's a little reminiscent of maybe how Jimi Hendrix approaches something like Hey Joe, or maybe how the Beatles approach something like Helter Skelter, right? We're using some similar elements with this, but what we're basically talking about is, again, this whole course is about lead guitar. And some people might just say, oh, that's when you play solos, but lead guitar can really just mean, you know, when you're kind of playing something in the forefront, or when you're playing something melodic, right? And what we see here is really a part of the evolution of guitar, where we are playing a lead line, it is a melody, but it has some elements of a rhythm part too. So I like this one because it's got a cool kind of melody and harmony within it, but I'm still working really on only playing one string at a time. So what I'm doing here is I'm starting on the 5th fret of my B string. And even though I'm only playing one string with my left hand, as I said, my right hand is going to play 2 strings at the same time. So what that means is I'm on this 5th fret of the B string, but in my right hand, I pluck both strings at the same time, or what we would call a strum, right? So all that means is I basically think about, what if I just put a little extra oomph on that B string, and as I follow through, I'm also hitting the E, right? I don't want to overdo it because then I'm going to lose my place, right? I'm still keeping those same kind of tenets of my right hand technique together, where even though I'm plucking through, I want to make sure I'm able to return to the B each time. So I'm going to play that 5th fret of the B string and the open E string 4 times. And you can hear what's cool about this is my E string and my 5th fret of my B string are the same exact note, right? They're both an E note. So I play this 4 times. Then I'm going to bring my first finger down to the 3rd fret of the B string, and I'm going to do the same thing. Right? Now out of context, sounds just kind of fine, right? But when you hear it in that greater context, it's got, you know, this whole melody and harmony working with it. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, just using my index on that 5th fret of the B string, down to the 3rd fret. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I'm going to again just move down 1 fret and play that 2nd fret of B, again, all while I'm still strumming through and hitting that open E string. And then the same thing again, but with my index finger on that 1st fret of the B string. Right? So I'm just playing each 4 times. Playing the 5th fret 4 times, then the 3rd fret, then the 2nd fret, then the 1st fret. And right, if I was to just play the string, it sounds cool, but that open E string is really what gives context to this harmony and takes it from just a simple melody line to something that's a lead part, but also has this bit of rhythm in it, right? So. Alright, so that's the first part of the lick. Now for the second part of the lick, it's the same exact thing again, except for this very last note. So what's that mean? It means I'm playing the 5th fret of the B string 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going down to the 3rd fret, but still playing that open E string. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to the 2nd fret. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now instead of going down to 1 again, I'm going to go all the way up to 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? And that's the one difference I have. So it's nice because there's just this tiny little variation that happens at the end. We repeat the same thing, but just vary up the ending a little bit. And the more and more I talk about how we make licks, and I'm going to dedicate a lesson to just that, you're going to see how this is actually a really nice kind of method to think about how licks work, right? A lot of times someone will play something with one ending, and then they repeat that same first part but with a different ending. And all of a sudden, it starts to sound a little bit more like a conversation. It has a journey, it has a beginning and an end, and it's just a full story of a phrase. And that's what we see here, right? So again, we're just playing these individual notes each 4 times and making sure we're ringing out with both strings. And then the second time through, Same thing at the beginning, but we end on that 8th fret. And that's our whole entire lick. So now that we got a good understanding of that, again, we're just focusing on keeping our right hand consistent, making sure both of those notes are ringing out, and using only our index to play that note on the B string. Let's take what we just learned and try it with the track. So again, this is a lick inspired by Jimi Hendrix in something like Hey Joe, or even if you were listening to a Stevie Ray Vaughan record, he uses a technique like this, or he's often using that high E string, or something that's kind of Beatlesy in their approach to harmony. We can even see it in something like Led Zeppelin. They have a lot of harmony, and, you know, stylistically this playing comes in a lot. So this is not unique to any one artist, but it has been used by a lot of unique artists, right? So it's a good technique. We're basically just using this concept of a pedal point where I have one string ringing out while I'm changing the note of a string under it, and we're just getting more examples of how we can move our finger around one string of the neck and get comfortable with this idea of shifting, because this is going to be a central part of how we play our instrument. So again, if you can play it with the backing track and get it up to speed, that's great, but as we're probably all mostly just starting out as we kind of take this course, it's completely okay to just play it on its own, work its up, maybe start with the track half speed or quarter speed or 75%, and slowly work your way up to being able to play at full speed, right? So it's always great to try to play something up to speed, and I would encourage you to, even if you're like, I know I'm gonna fail, but I just wanna kind of strive for it. That little bit of trying to push yourself to get to the next level is a really, really helpful part of learning this instrument. And it's really what pushes you to, you know, develop your feel on the instrument and take risks. Because we want to be able to do a little bit of that as we're playing this. We don't want to get too comfortable. So it's okay if you can't get it up to tempo. But if you feel like you're kind of there and you're just not sure, just go for it. You might fail. You might fall on your face. But falling on your face is going to get, you know, is going to become less and less of a problem the more you develop this instrument, and you're going to slowly find your balance.